What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 best moves that you guys can use at the top of the route to be able to create some separation. So these 3 moves are something that you guys can add to your game. They're simple, they're effective, they don't take too long, and it's really going to help you guys get separation against zone coverage, off man, and obviously press man. So I hope this video gives you guys some value, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you're maybe not sure what drills to work on, the specific things you need to do to be able to work those moves at the top of the route, those releases off the line to improve your hands, check out that very first link in the description, fellas, for our 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. So what it is, it's a 4-week step-by-step program where we break down each drill, we give you the specific sets, repetitions of each drill, and then we obviously apply it to full field routes on the field, and we break that down. So also we include a 30-minute long instructional video where we break down each drill, each day of the plan, then we show a full-speed example of each route you're going to run and each drill that you're going to do. So I hope you guys could check that out. Very first link in the description, 4-week long workout plan specifically for wide receivers. Let's get started. So first move we're talking about here is going to be the rocker step, okay? So what is a rocker step if you're not familiar to the page, and how can you guys get better on this rocker step? So when we get to the top of the route here, so you could use it in a couple different situations. You could use it off of a restack. You could use it when a DB's off, in man, or even in zone. But essentially, it's a double cut. So everybody knows that, like, okay, you're running a post. You make that speed cut with your outside foot. Instead of making that cut, instead of the move starting with your outside foot, you start with your inside foot. So like if I'm going to do a rocker step, you want to step in the direction that you're going first. So I want to go to the right. I'm going to step with my right foot first and then cut off of my left foot. So I'm trying to make him think that I'm running an out route, a corner route, whatever it may be. And that could build off a couple things at the top, throughout the game, right? So this rocker step is one of the best moves, one of the 3 best moves to get you some space. So now when I get to the top of this break, the main keys here is that you don't want to be soft with the first step. So many people make that mistake as receivers will run up and they're soft with the first part of the rocker step, then they're heavy with the second part, right? That's not going to do much. You know what I mean? You might as well just do one single cut. You got to really commit to both cuts. So you see when this receiver goes here, he's going 1. That's a heavy cut. And you see how his head and his shoulders, everything is selling on that first cut. And now that first cut, more so rather than like reaching outside of your frame, you want to be sudden. You want to be explosive. Reason being is off of that first cut, you want to push. You really want to throw into the second cut and really over-exaggerate it, because that over-exaggeration and you being able to sell with your body is what's going to get a DB to move. Because where's this DB supposed to be watching? Hips and torso, right? So when I make that first cut, bam, I throw into the second cut. You see how his hips and shoulders are both committed. He's catching himself on that foot. There's almost like a split-second pause on that second cut, and that's what's going to get that DB to move, fellas. He's not supposed to be watching your feet. He's not supposed to be watching your head and shoulders. He's supposed to be watching your hips. So when everybody says, oh, you got to throw a head fake, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Yeah, you want to bring your upper half, but you want to sell with your hip. You want to sell with your torso, because that's what gets you to move. Now, the mistake a lot of guys will make on this rocker step is when they sell with their torso, they'll open up their toe, and then their knee opens up, and then they don't have any weight on their inside arch of their foot, so they can't accelerate out. So they'll do this rocker step, and then they have this long drift out of there, and that drift out of there is no good. What you want to do is throughout this whole move, you want to be on the inside part of your foot and you're pushing. Then you catch yourself on the inside part of your foot so you could actually explode out, because when anybody could get separation, can you keep separation? Can you catch yourself on that outside foot, push off that inside arch, and be able to actually burst upfield and use that explosion, use that cut to create some acceleration? That's a hell of a route right here. Let's watch the thing again, full speed. One of the best moves you guys can use at the top of the route to get open is that rocker step. So you could use it in a situation where the DB's an off man. You close the distance with him and you hit him with a 1-2. You want to step in the direction that you're going first. You could restack, step in the direction that you're going first and throw a 1-2. Or if it's zone coverage, you can maybe hit him with a 1-2 and attack that blind spot of the DB. And especially if you're a slot going up against a zone coverage safety, that's essentially off man. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job getting back over the top, hitting him with that 1-2. Great overall move right there. That's a perfect technique on that rocker step. So now, next move we're going to be talking about is the peek back technique. So what is the peek back technique? I like to call it a glance back. Like I say peek back, but it's really a glance. It's not like you're peeking way back and you're raising your pad level up. So let's look at this example here from Antonio Brown. And a lot of guys work this, right? Jerry Jeudy, everybody saw that famous clip of him this year when they were in the all dark blue, and he was running it, threw his hand up, gave a peek back, then he just snapped it off. So there are a lot of different routes you could work this peek back on. Let's watch it full speed one more time, or first time. And so he's coming out here, outside release, gives that peek, bam. breaks this thing right off, is able to get a ton of separation on this thing. So that peek back is just another thing. That's to get an undisciplined guy. But also, because again, we talked about it in the last clip, where's the DB not supposed to be looking? Eyes, right? So, and we only want to use this, fellas, in press man or like when he's running with us, or maybe an off man when he's opened up that hip a little bit and opened up that gate and we're actually running with him downfield. Maybe he's sitting at off man at like 7 yards, and then you got to run a 15 back to 12 comeback. So you take that outside release and you give him that peek back once you get to about like 10 or whichever step that we're going to be breaking on, like your third inside, then I snap it off, right? So let's talk about this. So when AB gets to the top of this route, you see how he gives that peek back with his eyes, but his pad level doesn't change and his stride doesn't change. So everybody who's like, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that if you are not used to working the peek back, you got to be able to get down cutting in stride first. I don't have guys that like their first time ever working out with me when we train, I don't have them just go, okay, we're doing a peek back today. No, we're focused on the cut. We're focused on the pad level, because then the peek back is more of an advanced move off of it. But if you have that down, if you feel comfortable with your pad level going into breaks, you feel comfortable with your strides, this is something that you could throw, right? And so many guys, when they go against man coverage, it's like a habit now because they've worked it so many times and they're so used to it, right? So when I got to keep a good pad level, so I keep selling vertical because nobody runs a fade with choppy steps or their pad level straight up in the air. So that's number one, because that's where that DB should be looking anyways. But that little glance back with your eyes. The other thing that with that glance back, you can't do it at the last second. So many guys will run up and let's say you're running an out route off of the third inside step, like it's 10-yard out route, and you come up, they'll throw the eyes right at the third inside step. That's not a peek back. You want to shoot those eyes like a couple steps before so you hold it there, because when you could hold that DB with your eyes, that's what really gets him to overcommit. When he sees your eyes going to that quarterback for like 2 to 3 steps, he's thinking, oh, he's getting the ball. It's a fade. Maybe he'll look back for the ball. Maybe he'll speed up a little bit to try to make this play. He'll be expecting the ball to fall into play your hands, and that's when we got him. That's when I could just pop this thing off right in the stride and be able to get out of this break. So it's very, very important when you're working that peek back. One of the best moves to get you separation is you got to keep a good pad level. You don't want to look back and lean back, and you can't slow your stride. A lot of people will go like this. When they peek back, those strides get shorter. They start chopping their feet. They start taking all these choppy steps, then they break. You got to stay in stride, keep a good pad level. It's just a little glance over your inside shoulder, then bam. I only like this move on out routes, corner routes, comeback routes, and maybe stop routes, and it may be the occasional dig. But an inside route, you can't really like you can't do a peek back on a post. Like that's not really going to work, because like that's where you're going to be looking anyways. It's where you have to almost whip your head back around. That's when you want to use this peek back. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job taking this. And you could do this with an inside release or an outside release. Just make sure it's an outside breaking route. Great job there by Antonio Brown. All right, so now last move we're going to be talking about is this square cut, okay? So it's going to be like this 4-step break at the top of the route. I only like this. I'm going to tell you this right now. Only like this move when you guys are not a first read, because again, everybody's dope when it's one-on-ones. Everybody's cool when it's 7-on-7 and there ain't no pass rush, there ain't no O-line. Your quarterback's not getting hit in the mouth when he lets this thing go and he's got to get it out on time. But when there's pads on, you guys got to be very, very selective with this move. But if you use this move correctly, it's going to get you a lot of space. So we got an inside shade DB right here, right? Inside shade off man. So we're coming off. He's going to work this 4-step break like this square cut at the top of this thing, okay? So let's get back to it. So when he goes here, the technique of it is like you want to drop, like there are a couple different ways. It's not so black and white, this move, but what I like to teach with my guys is you want to drop with the foot that you're going to first. So like to the side of the route that you're going to first. So like if I'm running inside, I want to drop my hips with my inside leg. So in this case, because we're running towards the right, the steps that I would teach my receivers is I would go right, left. So it'd be 4 steps. So we'd go here, right, left. And on that left one, we're really selling with my upper half, and I'm really selling with my head and shoulders on this fake to get this guy to jump. So this is called the square cut. We're trying to sell like I'm running a 10-yard out route, okay? So now, I only like this when we're maybe the second or third read on a play, right? So if you're a dig route, like let's say you're running a dig route and maybe you're backside and you can't get into it too early, like maybe the quarterback, like let's draw the full play. Like let's say the quarterback's here, and let's say he's working a concept over here where it's like here, like a smash concept, and maybe we got like the slots doing something here, and you're a dig backside, you're this guy. That's when you could maybe use this. But if you're like a first read, like let's say it's like zone coverage and it's like one of these concepts, you just got to go. You can't do this move when you're a first read because it just takes a little bit too long. Quarterback's going to be trying to anticipate hitting you in that window, so we just can't take forever on this, okay? But there's a man coverage, it's an off-man situation route, okay? So now, when we come off here, again, like I said, that drop of your hips alerts the DB, because when he's an off-man, man, what's he supposed to be watching? He's supposed to be watching your hips, right? So I got to make sure that when I get into this break, there's a level change. I'm dropping my weight 1, 2, and then I'm throwing 3, 4. It's 4 steps. So I drop 1, 2, hit the ground 3, and then I'm throwing my hip, throwing my upper half 4, because we're trying to sell like we're doing like a broken down out route. Like I'm just breaking down 1, 2, breaking off the 3rd step, and I'm running an out route. That's what we're trying to sell. Because again, an off man, what are you guys going to do? When you have an outside breaking route against an inside shade DB, you're going to attack his leverage, get him to move, and then break it off and go run an out route. So that's what we're trying to make it look like. We're trying to make it all look the exact same. So that's what we got to do. So I drop down 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4-step break. Got to make sure we sell on that 4th step to get this DB to jump, and then I could burst and really accelerate out off of that cut. That's a great route right here. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. You got to make sure that we attack leverage. Got to make sure that I drop my hips, and got to make sure that I sell on that 4th step. Those are the 3 best moves to get you guys separation at the top of the route. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. As usual, always appreciate that. And again, fellas, 4-week-long, 28-day wide receiver on-field workout plan, specific drills you need to do to improve your route running, moves at the top of the route, press releases, hands, balance, explosiveness, and get a 30-minute long instructional video where we break down each day of the plan. Hope you guys could check that out. Very first link in the description. I'll see you guys next time.